Season 8 of the finals dropped yesterday with some big changes, some great, some not so great. Today I will discuss all of them and give you my first impressions on the update. First things first, this was a massive season for the finals in terms of player count. The game peaked at just under 33,000 players online at once yesterday, and that is an all-time high since the past, I think, 18 months. So the game is the most popular it's been since March of 2024, so massive update for the game. So first off, let's start with the new weapons. Personally, I haven't even had a chance to use all of the existing weapons, but still, new weapons are always welcome. I have now used all the light weapons and all the medium weapons. I just need to edit my medium weapon video. That should hopefully be out in like a week or two. The new weapons are the P90, which is a medium weapon, and the BFR Titan, which is a heavy. The P90 is a submachine gun with compact design and high magazine capacity. It's incredibly fast, does really good damage, and I've used it yesterday for about an hour and 30 minutes, and I'd probably say it's like up there with one of my favorite weapons to use in the medium class right now. And obviously everyone is using it that tries medium because it's a new weapon. So if you play the game right now, you're most likely going to go against someone who's using this. But I don't think it's a fad and that everyone is using it just because, you know, it's the new weapon. I think this will go on to be something that is like an evergreen weapon and people will continue to use it in weeks or months to come. It is a really good weapon for the medium class. One thing I like about this is that it comes with its own like sight built in. I'm so used to having to purchase a red dot or a different sight for my SMGs and ARs. This one basically comes with a red dot, but it's the green little triangle. But yeah, like you could just dive in with this thing straight away without the need to buy an attachment, which was nice. And then Heavy got the BFR Titan, which is a revolver. Personally, I haven't used it myself, but a couple people that were playing the game with me from my Discord server were using it, and they were saying that it's a pretty good weapon if you manage to hit all your shots. But if you miss one, then you're pretty much screwed. So if you're really like accurate in the game, this one can help you melt enemies pretty quickly. Really good against lights and mediums. I don't think it was as good against heavies, but that's expected due to the additional health they have. But overall, it seems like two good weapons have been added. I haven't seen anything really negative about these two additions so far. Next up is Instant Replay, and this is the one which I don't think is a great update. It is a technological advancement for the game. Having instant replays and kill cams is actually a lot harder than players may think. Basically, what you have to do is like always record the game live in 3D space, which is an incredibly difficult task, and then play it back to the player with everything that happened playing back exactly as it happened. So you need to like track every single piece of data, like bullets, animations, player movement and position, geometry, effects, and now the added destruction in the game as well. The finals is a game which I'm going to assume was incredibly difficult to get instant replay working on because of their physics-based destruction. But while it's technically a huge accomplishment and the devs should be proud that they managed to achieve something like this, I don't think it's a piece of content that belongs in a new season drop. It doesn't feel like seasonality content to me. Additionally, it is something that actually negatively impacts your gameplay experience for many users. I'm so used to being able to provide help and call out for my team when I am on the respawn screen because I can fly around the map. However, with instant replay, that prevents you from doing that, so you are clueless to what is going on. You are basically void from helping your teammates for like 5 to 10 seconds. You can skip it, but I think it should be an option to just remove it completely and not have it on by default. I guess there's an argument that it's useful to learn how someone killed you, but I just think there's more negatives to this feature than positives. Personally, I am someone that no matter the game, 9 times out of 10 skips the kill cams. Next up, match recap was added or improved. Now, after a match, you'll be able to see, well, for matches in World Tour, Ranked, and Quick Cash only, you'll be able to see a match recap which shows you your own performance with like ratings across combat, objective play, support, and more. And you can see how everything played out, and it highlights key moments within the game. Then there was an update to the weapon system, or the, I guess, equipment systems. Grenades now have an indicator that flashes red, so you can see where grenades are. And the dematerializer has some small reworks. Basically, there's an off-screen indicator that will help you and other people know that a wall has been demattered close by to you. And also, there's a bit of a weird, like, I guess, blurred vision effect is like the closest I could compare this to on the dematerialized surface, rather than it being like clean cut. So things that are like beyond the dematerialized surface are basically a bit blurry and harder to see. Next thing is something I briefly mentioned, and that is the new destruction, which they are calling smooth destruction. The easiest way to explain this is basically like impact damage from collapsing buildings and things in previous seasons was there, but it wasn't really smooth, right? Like in very obvious keyframes, you would see an object crash into a building, the building would slowly crumble apart, you'd see things fall in big chunks, and it would take a very long time. There's many videos of people doing like the finals has updated destruction style content, and it's them stood watching a giant tower collapse which takes 30 seconds to fall apart because you have to wait for all the beams to break, and then the second floor to break, and then the third floor to break, and it just takes so long. Whereas now it basically looks like they like added a bunch more keyframes to the destruction. Keyframes are not a thing in destruction, it's just the easiest way to explain it basically. Just imagine you have like a really choppy 24 frame per second video or animation, and you bump it up to 60 FPS. Like that's basically how this feels. Much more smooth, much more debris, much more little pieces flying around, and it's just smoother, quicker, and it just looks a lot better basically. Some maps got some updates, but sadly there are no new maps in this season. That is something that I would have really liked to see. Kyoto and Monaco got some changes, things like suspended structures, the interiors of buildings have been simplified, and also some extra jump pads have been placed on the maps. Obviously, as expected, there's a new battle pass, and for the first time I actually purchased it. I made my first finals transaction. It was the battle pass, which cost me, I think, £23.40 in GBP, which probably works out at like $28, $29 or something, which is a pretty big like single transaction to make. And I also really want the Metro Drifter set, and I'm probably gonna buy that at some point in the next month or so. And then finally, we have improvements for newbies, improvements for onboarding new players, which is really cool to see, and something that I have seen other people, and I think also myself, mention a few times. It's like the game is on Season 8, right? There are a lot of changes, and this game is not the same game as it was when it came out. I played the game when it came out, and ultimately, like many other people, I abandoned it because I didn't like it. Now, getting back into it, I think many people probably feel a bit like this is too much, it's changed, this is an entirely new game now, I don't know what I'm doing. There's all these weapons, there's all these classes, there's like all these cosmetics, the menu looks somewhat like a mobile game with all the buttons and pop-ups. What do I do? Finding the game mode you want to play is also still ridiculously difficult. So they've made a few changes. The tutorial has updates and is expanded to cover much more of what the finals actually entails. It teaches players how to use specializations, what happens during a team wipe, and how to revive teammates. Then once they've completed the tutorial, they can choose a playstyle. This also isn't limited to new players, anyone can do this. A playstyle is a pre-made contestant which bundles a specialization, weapon, and gadgets into a recognizable state of play. These are things like medic, Assassin, Scout, Engineer, and Hacker. It basically gives new players a clear starting point and shows off the variety that the finals has to offer, while still letting everyone branch out and experiment with different loadouts and playstyles. Hopefully it makes the finals an easier onboarding experience and a friendlier approach to the game for new players, and also a faster path to unlock and learn all the different weapons, specializations, and gadgets. And then finally, small updates. There are some faster boot times to the game. This is largely due to a background shader pre-caching, which means the game boots up much faster and you can navigate the menus, edit contestants, and party it with friends while the shaders are finishing to compile in the background, rather than needing to compile the shaders while you are waiting for the game to launch. I'm sure many of you have made memes about, oh, I'll be on in 5 minutes just waiting for shaders to pre-cache. You know, you can do that in the menu now, basically. Oh, and before I forget, game modes. There are no new game modes, which is, again, sad. But head-to-head from the previous season is now a permanent mode and replaces Terminal Attack, which is nice to see. I think Terminal Attack was the least played mode by far, and therefore it makes sense to replace it with a mode which people actually prefer. However, I would like to see the finals have more modes in general. This is a game which has a lot of content, but not in the game mode department. That's the one place it's lacking. There is, 6 different game modes to play in the finals? When in other shooter games like your Halos, Call of Duties, Battlefields, Splitgates, whatever it may be, there are like 20 to 30 game modes in those games by the time they reach like season 7, 8, 9, you know, of their live service. Personally, what I would really like to see in future seasons is an addition of permanent limited time modes. I know that sentence doesn't make any sense because limited and permanent are different things. But imagine Action Sack from Halo, or like a party game playlist where you would click on party games, and there are 3 or 4 of the LTMs, but they are now permanent things that you can play. That's what I'd like to see, because it's a shame that some of these LTMs are really fun, like Head-to-Head was, and then you don't see them again for months, or maybe even in some case you'd never see them again at all. It would be really nice to be able to play them again, just in their own playlist. Obviously, I understand that there's probably some concerns about splitting up the player base that much. In the finals, you do find the game pretty fast, and that is largely due to the fact that there isn't a huge number of game modes. There also isn't a match composer. So you find games, mostly I find games in like 30 seconds or less. And adding more game modes, yeah, for sure, would make it so that maybe you spend a minute or a minute and 30 seconds finding a match. However, this season has seen a ton of new players. You know, an extra 10 or 11,000 concurrent CCU is a very big number. It means that probably, like, I'm guessing, somewhere between 50 to 100,000 unique players actually tried the season. New unique players. So I think you can spare a couple extra game modes. So that's just, yeah. Feedback-wise, some of the updates don't feel like seasonality content. They don't feel like new season additions. And I think that is very much the case. Is like they didn't have enough new content, maybe due to arc raiders and limited resources on the finals now. And therefore, things like, oh, this mode is now permanent. We have replays now, tutorial updates, new battle pass, a couple map changes, destruction is improved. You know, these aren't your typical season updates that you expect to see. Season updates for me in shooter games are usually like, here is 2 or 3 new game modes. Here are 2 or 3 new maps. Then you have your new cosmetics, your battle pass, your balance changes, maybe some updates to your esports side, which the finals now does have. The new weapons and in some games vehicles. Obviously the finals added 2 new weapons, that's great. But yeah, I just feel like this season this feels more like this is season 7.5 than season 8. The game does feel extremely similar to what I was playing last week. It doesn't feel like there are huge new pieces of content. It just feels like everything that is in the game has been upgraded. Having said that, that's not me being negative. I'm enjoying it still. This is now becoming one of my most played games. I think I'm up to like 70 or 75 hours on the game or something now. I've almost tried all the weapons and specializations. And, you know, I'm having fun playing it. I'm having fun making content on it. And I hope that it has a long life ahead, especially after Arc Raiders. I really hope they don't abandon this. I want them to keep pushing with it. And I would imagine they will be trying to, because having esports tournaments and leagues and stuff like that, doing major updates like the destruction and adding replays, like, you don't go through that much effort just to abandon the game in like another season or two. So, you know, hopefully this game makes it to like season 15 or something, and we can get another few years out of the game. So yeah, thanks for watching this one. Bit of a longer video than usual, I think. And yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, comment, like, all that stuff that every YouTuber begs you to do. And join my Discord if you aren't already, and we can play the game together. Yeah. Alright, see you in the next one. Goodbye.